flashed so brightly it looked like white gold. He dared not even blink, in case it swung away from his eyes and revealed the source of the commotion, a sight he might not be able to bear. He wondered if his legs possessed the strength to carry him down 8 flights of stairs in a hurry, perhaps with something in pursuit. He killed the thought. A little shame warmed the aftermath of his sudden fright. He was a 31-year-old man, not a child, 6 feet tall, and a paid deterrent. Not that he anticipated doing anything beyond being a reassuring presence when he took the job, but this had to be investigated. Struggling to hear over the thump of his heart in his ears, Seth leaned towards the front door and placed his left ear an inch from the letter flap to listen. Silence. His fingers made a move for the letterbox. If he knelt down and pushed the brass flap inward, enough light should fall from the landing to illumine some of the hallway on the other side of the front door. But what if somebody looked back at him? His hand paused, then withdrew. No one was permitted to go inside 16, a rule pressed upon him by the head porter when he first began the night job 6 months earlier. Such a strict observance was not unusual for ported apartment buildings in Knightsbridge. Even after a reasonable lottery win, an ordinary member of the public would struggle to afford a flat in Barrington House. The 3-bedroom apartments never sold for less than £1 million, and the service charge cost an additional £11,000 per annum. Many residents filled their apartments with antiques. Others guarded their privacy like war criminals and shredded their paperwork for the porters to collect in bin bags. The same instruction forbidding access existed for another 5 empty flats in the building, but during his patrols, Seth had not once heard noises inside any of them. Maybe someone had been given permission to stay in the apartment, and one of the day porters had forgotten to record the information in the desk ledger. Unlikely, as both day porters, Piotr and Georges, had frowned with incredulity when he first mentioned the disturbances during the morning changeover, which left one other plausible explanation at such an hour. An intruder had broken in from the outside. But then, an intruder would need to scale the exterior of the building with a ladder. Seth had patrolled the front of the building in the last 10 minutes and there had been no ladder. He could always go and wake Stephen, the head porter, and ask him to open the door. But he balked at the thought of disturbing him at this hour. The head porter's wife was an invalid. She occupied most of his time between duties, leaving him exhausted at the end of each day. Lowering himself to one knee, Seth pushed open the letter flap and peered into the darkness. A shock of cold air rushed past his face, and with it came a smell that was familiar. A woody camphor scent reminiscent of his grandmother's gigantic wardrobe that had been like a secret cabin to him as a boy, and an aroma not dissimilar to reading rooms in university libraries or museums built by the Victorians. A trace of former residence and antiquity, suggesting vacancy rather than use. The vague light that fell past his head and shoulders brightened the small section of the reception hall inside the flat. He could make out the murky outline of a telephone table against one wall, an indistinct doorway on the right-hand side, and a few square meters of floor tiled in black and white marble. The rest of the space was in shadow or complete darkness. He screwed his eyes up against the uncomfortable draft that swelled against the front of his face and tried to see more. And failed. But his scalp prickled on account of what he heard. Squinting into the umbra, he could hear the suggestion of something heavy being dragged at the far end of the hallway, as if a significant weight wrapped up in sheets or supported on a large rug was being moved in short bursts of exertion away from the tiny slot of light he had made in the front door. As the sounds receded further into the far confines of the apartment, they lessened, then ceased. Seth wondered if he should call out and offer the darkness a challenge, but could not summon the strength to open his mouth. Acutely, he now felt he was being watched from down there, and this sudden sense of scrutiny and vulnerability made him want to close the mail flap, stand up, and step away. He dithered. It was hard to think clearly. He was tired, weary to the marrow, clumsy and confused, paranoid even. He was 31, but working these shifts made him feel 81. Clear signs of sleep.